Good evening and welcome to the monthly board meeting of the Dallas Independent School District Board of Trustees. It is 6:03 p.m. We have a quorum and this meeting has been duly posted. Can you please stand and join us for a moment of silence and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and a salute to the Texas flag. The following, the following trustees are present. Trustee Foreman, Trustee Mackey, Trustee Flores, Trustee Mitch K, Trustee Marshall, Trustee Garcia is joining us via Zoom. Our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Michael Hinojosa, joins us, and I'm Justin Henry, Board President. This meeting will be available simultaneously in Spanish on social media through Dallas ISD en Español and Facebook and through the district's website. Trustee Flores.
Esta reunión se va a transmitir simultáneamente en español a través de las redes sociales por Dallas ISD en español en Facebook y en la página web del distrito. Gracias.
Thank you. And a friendly reminder for everyone in the room and in the building to please continue to practice social distancing and wearing your mask above your mouth and your nose. I know many folks in the room are getting vaccines or already gotten vaccines as we continue to roll out in Dallas, so I appreciate everyone respecting everyone's distance and wearing your mask. On March 16, 2020, Governor Greg Abbott granted a request by Attorney General Ken Paxton to temporarily suspend a limited number of open meetings laws to the extent necessary to allow telephonic and video conference meetings in response to COVID-19. In accordance with these suspended rules, we certify the following. A, notice of this meeting has been posted online for at least 72 hours. B, we have a quorum in attendance at this meeting, either physically or trustees are in attendance through video conference via Zoom. C, we're meeting by use of Zoom meeting software, which allows two-way communication for members of the public. D, members of the public who have followed the instructions on the meeting notice for registering to speak during the public comment portion will be allowed to address the board for 3 minutes. E, all other meeting procedures will adhere to board adopted procedures to the extent practicable. F, an audio recording of this meeting is being made and will be made available to the public. G, we apologize in advance for any unforeseeable difficulties and ask for your patience as we navigate unprecedented conditions. H, if you have any questions about these suspended laws, please call the Office of Attorney General at 888-672-6787 or by email at toma@oag.texas.gov. Also want to acknowledge Trustee Carrion has joined us in person at this meeting. Trustees, there are no recognitions. We'll begin with 3.0, the Superintendent's Report. Dr. Hinojosa.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. I'll report on 3 items today. Number one, I want to thank Dr. Lusk and his team we had a great event today with celebrating our P-TECH, and we had our industry partners and our students, and the students stole the show like they always do, and it was a great celebration of the journey that we've been on, so I want to thank all the staff, community, and especially the students for their participation in that great event. Twice this week I was on calls with the Secretary of Education. He has come on board and as a member of the Council of Great City Schools and also AASA, I had the opportunity to have a conversation with the Secretary of Ed in a couple of the forums that were established. One of the asks that we asked is that the federal government has approved for significant dollars to be used in 15 different buckets. There is some legislation in front of at the Capitol that those restrictions be down to 5 buckets where we could use our federal dollars. And there's only 2 states that are in that predicament, and it's us and New York. So the Secretary assured that they would try to help us on the maintenance of effort requirements. I do expect all of those to be loosened up later in the session, but just wanted you to be aware. And finally, on the local legislative update, things are really picking up in Austin. I just got today, the Senate Education Committee heard a bill about state takeovers. as a result of what happened in Houston and now some legislation that's actually more far-reaching. That same bill, the House Companion, House Bill 3270, will be heard next week at Public Ed. There are now 20 bills that are going to be heard next week. Many of those, some of those could impact us. So I will be in Austin next Tuesday to testify on. Also, there's several virtual education bills, so things are really picking up at the Capitol. In fact, they had to move out of the Capitol meeting room to the Reagan building, which is still on the Capitol grounds, because of the volume of bills that are now being heard in committee. So stay tuned. There'll be a lot of action in the next several weeks as this unique session winds down. That concludes my report. Mr. President, I'll be glad to entertain any questions if necessary.
Thank you, Superintendent Hinojosa. Trustee Mitchkay?
Yes, Dr. Hinojosa, the TASB board meeting is going on right now, and there was some concern about the COVID relief funds that have been allocated as to whether or not they would be in addition to the funding that is already provided by the state, or would just supplant that funding. And I was wondering if you had any insight as to whether the state legislature is likely to basically take those funds and use them to fund other projects outside of education.
There is good reason for that concern, because on some of the early packages from the feds, some of those funds were taken to help the state budget, and they supplanted state funds. What we're worried about, and we understand that because that allowed us to keep House Bill 3 intact. But now, it's almost impossible for them to keep the rest of the dollars that have been approved by the feds. And so there is reason to be concerned at this time. I don't think there's reason to be alarmed. I think that eventually that money will make all the way through. But that's the very topic of my conversation with the Secretary of Education. So we all just need to be vigilant on those dollars. But we do anticipate that there'll be a breakthrough at some time in the next few weeks.
All right. Thank you, Trustee Mitchkay. We're now on the committee reports. Are there any committee reports? I don't see any. No trustee reports for Districts 1 through 9 on community interest. We'll start with District 1, Trustee Flores.
Thank you, President Henry. For the District 1 accolades for March 2020, first, a shout out to the W.T. White Longhorns men track team for winning the Leon Hayes Invitational on March 8th. Way to go. And 2, kudos to Lane Flores from Thomas Jefferson High School for being selected as one of the 2021 National Football Foundation Gridiron Club of Dallas High School Scholar Athletes. Congratulations. And that's my report.
I'll give the District 2 report. First, congratulations to Woodrow freshman Campbell Chase, who swam her way to state champion. Congrats, Campbell. She's the 5A state champion in the 200 individual medley, also won bronze medal in the 100. Congrats to North Dallas High School, which became the second choice high school in Dallas ISD and the first ever design thinking school. The faculty and staff have really been working towards this goal for the past 2 years and more, and I'm really proud of their accomplishment and want to thank OTI for choosing them. Also want to congratulate 7 North Dallas High School students who won medals and certificates at the Visual Arts Scholastic event, UIL competition that was held virtually on March 6th. And congratulate the North Dallas boys soccer team who became district champs with a 10-4A title of 8-1 win over Lincoln. On March 10th, King Assistant Corp was at Preston Hollow Elementary donating sneakers to all the students, so thank you very much for your generous donation. I also want to welcome the new principal at Benjamin Franklin, which is Irma de la Guardia, who joined the school on March 10th. We'll also want to give a shout out to Mockingbird Elementary, who was selected as a Cool School Neighborhood Park. This is the program that aims to build healthier and happier communities by creating a neighborhood green space that will serve as a place to gather, learn, and play. Also, congratulations to Preston Hollow student Amira for winning $1,000 in the top performance prize at the 2021 DISD Poetry Slam competition. And lastly, congrats to the North Dallas girls soccer team that became district champs with a 10-4A title. The ladies also celebrated a flawless 12-0 record this season. Way to go. That concludes the District 2 report.
And for District 3, I want to say congratulations to Malik Brown of Conrad High School, and Jack Janes of Bryan Adams High School for being selected as 2021 National Football Foundation Gridiron Club High School Scholar Athletes. Also, I'd like to say thanks to all the schools who served as a curbside meal distribution site for families and students during our spring break, and especially to those in District 3, Sam Tasby Middle School, George W. Truett Elementary School, and Highland Meadows Elementary School. That concludes my report.
Trustee Furman, if you'll go ahead and go. Trustee Garcia is not able to do hers.
So this is the District 6 report. Congratulations to Carter High School seniors Aaron Crittenden and Walter Taylor, who have been awarded TCU Community Scholarships valued at $350,000 each. Congratulations to Kimball Knights boys soccer team for the first time they're winning a winning season in history and first district title. I'd say to those young men, you are champions. Congratulations to Jeremiah Johnson of Kimball High School and Case Williams of Carter High School for being selected as 2021 National Football Foundation High School Scholar Athletes. And the heartbreaker. Kimball's boys basketball team didn't win their overtime game against Beaumont, but they played hard, coming within 1 point, and I am very proud of each of them. And what I said to Dr. Wilson earlier was, I've never picked up so many 6-foot boys off the floor in my life, but it's a life lesson. They played hard, they played fair, they didn't win, but they won my heart. Thank you.
I'll give the District 7 report. So first of all, congratulations to Alex Rodriguez from Sunset High School and Matthew Perez from Molina High School for being recognized by the National Football Foundation as scholar athletes. These students were selected based on their athletic accomplishments, academic performance, and leadership in the community. Well done. Congratulations to Sunset High School's football program for receiving $10,000 donation from the NFL Play Football to upgrade their weight room, field equipment, and branding. I also want to shout out our Lady Leopards at Adamson for earning the 5A Basketball District Honors. And I also want to give a shout out to another Adamson Leopard, Natalia Alvarado, for earning a full tuition Posse scholarship to Cornell College. So proud of you. And then finally, a special shout out to one of our phenomenal pre-K teachers at Winnetka Elementary School, Lizbeth Melendez, for collaborating with Univision, Telemundo, to highlight the safety and importance of wearing masks in schools and for continuing to keep your community well informed. Well done. That concludes my report. But before we move on, I did miss the boat on the committee report. I did want to note that the Procurement Ad Hoc Committee met earlier this month and reviewed the findings by internal audit and had a discussion with the CFO around procurement changes that have taken place so far and have talked about potentially any changes that will be done to policy. This concludes my report.
I will give the District 8 report. I want to give a shout out to teacher Katie Tate, math teacher at Julian T. Saldivar Elementary School. She took action to help our students when she saw how they were impacted by last month's winter storm. Her Amazon wish list was fulfilled by the community with an estimated $11,000 worth of mattresses, blankets, and food donated, enough to help students in every classroom at Saldivar Elementary School. I also want to give congratulations to the entire team at Solar Preparatory School for Girls. Solar has led the way and really shown what single gender education can be, and because of their efforts, the school motto has been selected to be replicated elsewhere. More on that soon, but I want to thank the Solar Prep School for Girls for their effort and Principal Santos for her leadership. And then also, congratulations to Spence Middle School, and again, to Principal Sol for her leadership. Their campus was selected as a new innovation school, and they will be launching a college and career prep model next school year. And then I also want to give a special District 8 thank you to Principal De La Guardia, who will be joining the team at Franklin Middle School. Most recently, she was at Foster Elementary School in District 8, and she served that school very well, and we were so grateful to have her. And District 2, you are getting a superstar at Franklin. Thank you. That concludes the District 8 report.
Thank you. We'll go with Trustee Johnson, and then I'm going to read the District 4 on behalf of Trustee Garcia, and then I'll do the District 9.
Thank you, Trustee Henry. Forgive me for being late. I was finishing up a walkthrough at South Oak Cliff High School. Great job, Pinkston Ladies Vikings, for taking your team, our team, to the basketball playoff for the first time in decades. You lost by only 1 point, but you are still winners in our book. You did an awesome job. Congratulations to Tanya Walker in 8th grade at Oliver Wendell Holmes Humanities Communication Academy for winning 2nd place in the Dallas ISD Spelling Bee, and then 5th place in the Dallas Regional Spelling Bee. Congratulations to DeMondre Williams of Wilma Hutchins High School for being selected as a 2021 National Football Foundation High School Scholar athlete. Kudos to our awesome principal, Ms. Shanika McDonald, at the H.I. Holland at Lisbon Elementary. Our community meeting was a success, and congratulations to you on your community recent bond 2015. Our virtual charrette and our community meeting was awesome. Thanks to the input from our parents and our community stakeholders, Holland will receive much-needed renovations and additions to meet that community expectations. Thanks to Tony Johnson and the Roosevelt alumni for feeding our kids and preparing meals for them prior to spring break and after spring break. Everything that you are doing in our community does not go unnoticed, and we want to give a shout out to Tony Johnson and the Roosevelt alumni. Also, shout out to Dr. Johnson, Willie Johnson, at South Oak Cliff High School, who has happened to be the program manager, the project manager, and the principal at South Oak Cliff High School. Dr. Hinojosa, we still have issues, leaking roof, and other issues that need to be addressed at South Oak Cliff High School. Thank you.
I'm now going to read the District 4 report. Congratulations to Tavon Jeffrey of Seagoville High School, Willie Owens of H. Grady Spruce High, and Markitten Sellers of Samuel High School for being selected as 2021 National Football Foundation High School Scholar Athletes by the Gridiron Club of Dallas. Also, kudos to the at-home and in-person students at Nathaniel Hawthorne Elementary who applied their critical thinking and problem-solving skills during a campus-wide Build Your Own Catapult Design Challenge. And last, shout out to the counseling team at Gilbert Queller Senior Elementary who organized High Noon Tea, a social emotional learning activity where they provided several different tea flavors and honey sticks for every student. And that concludes the District 4 report. I'll now read the District 9 report. First, I want to say way to go to the Booker T. Washington High School State Champion mock trial team who walked away with first place at the 42nd Annual Texas High School Mock Trial Competition on March 6th. A huge accomplishment. Also, kudos to Lincoln High School's Carmelo Sasser, who was honored by the National Football Foundation Gridiron Club of Dallas. Sasser is one of the 62 North Texas High School scholar athletes recognized for their accomplishments during the Gridiron's Club's virtual awards show on March 21st. I also want to say thank you to the District 9 staff who are going the extra mile to keep students engaged and learning by participating in Destination Imagination, debate, UIL, and esports competitions sponsored by student activities. These schools include, not limited to, Henry B. Gonzalez, J.P. Starks, Eduardo Mata, R.C. Burleson, Billy Earl Dade, and E.B. Comstock are among District 9 campuses whose students are having fun and staying engaged through competitive learning activities. And last, although not a current student, I did want to publicly again, if I can find it, sorry. I want to acknowledge a Lincoln graduate. Her name is Kia Kabara. She was recently elected the student body president of my college that I graduated from, the University of Texas at Austin. I just wanted to mark that we had conversations about what kind of students and leaders we make in Dallas ISD. So I wanted to share her story, a graduate of DISD, a graduate of Lincoln High School, now president of the student body, the largest public university in the state of Texas. So congrats to her and her accomplishments. What is it? What's the model, Doc, at home? What is it? Somebody help me? No? Okay. She was raised here in DISD, so very proud of her. And that concludes the District 9 report. Our agenda now calls for the public forum segment of our meeting. Ms. Grant, will you please call the speakers?
Our first speaker is Brittany Connor.
Hello, my name is Brittany Connor, and as a bilingual teacher and parent, I have seen firsthand how citizenship often gatekeeps access to educational opportunities, decisions, and resources. Time and time again, I have counseled parents who feel trapped due to their immigration status, often afraid to advocate for their students' educational needs or to participate in any decision-making processes. Our residents are incredible individuals who have a wide array of talents, skills, and leadership that we lose out on by preventing them access to our district committees. As a district that prides themselves on partnering with parents and community members, we would be remiss not to take this opportunity to be inclusive and ensure equitable access to decision-making and decision makers. Please vote in favor of allowing residents to be on district committees. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Alex Laywell.
Dear Board of Trustees, my name is Alex Laywell. I live at 7510 Holly Hill Drive, which is a part of District 3 and right across the street from Emmett J. Conrad High School. I'm here today to voice my support of Agenda Item 7.38, the proposed amendment to board policy allowing all residents, regardless of their status, not just U.S. citizens, to be a part of advisory committees. For the past 8 years, I've had the privilege of residing in District 3, where I work with immigrant students and families who are in this country on a variety of statuses. Whatever their status may be, we know that these families are contributing members of our schools, workforces, and communities. As such, it's imperative that their input and experiences become a standard part of DISD committees. All students and families within DISD deserve to be an integral part in decision-making on any level. The ability for all residents to have their voices heard will only improve DISD's ability to be more informed on relevant issues and therefore better understand how to serve everyone within the district. At the end of the day, I think we can all agree that we want all residents to be reflected in decision making. I believe this amendment is a key step in ensuring that every DISD student receives a quality and equitable experience. I'd like to thank Trustee Dan Mitchke for putting forth this amendment and hope that all other trustees will follow suit in voting to approve this important change. I yield the remainder of my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Camilla Correa Beward.
Hi, making sure that I can be heard. I just unmuted myself. My name is Camila Correa Bordeaux. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. I am addressing Superintendent Hinojosa, the Board of Trustees. My baby is also with me tonight. DISD admin and any community members who are listening. I reside at 4319 Cabell Drive. I'm also here happy and very excited to be joined by other speakers that spoke before me to advocate in support of Agenda Item 7.38 regarding the makeup of advisory boards and just ensuring that citizenship status isn't an eligibility requirement for appointments to these boards. I just want to thank the board, definitely Trustee Dan Mitchke, I know you brought this to the attention of other board members, but thanking everybody who already indicated support from your earlier meeting this month at the briefing. It really means a lot to have leadership like you at the table that's opening this door for greater civic participation in our schools. And it also is incredibly inspiring just to hear from other community members earlier this month at that briefing to learn what that change could mean for them as an individual or for the community that they represent. And then the last thing I wanted to say is just, research shows that diversity of perspective can only add strength to the outcome of whatever that set goal is. And I think that this change is going to make DISD a stronger public school system for students, for families. I think it'll accelerate student success because the families that think that the district doesn't care to hear their opinion, they'll now know that, hey, maybe I am invited to the table. Maybe my voice does matter, and that'll just lead to more success for their students, the students and their families. So thank you for considering support for this item. I appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Eric Mata.
Yes, thank you, Superintendent Hinojosa and trustees. My name is Eric Mata, reside in 1500 North Fitzhugh, a longtime resident of Dallas, and a member of a Texas Organizing Project Education Justice Campaign. As an organization that for years has engaged with parents across DISD on these issues of education equity and participation in their children's schools, we fully support this amendment, and we believe all residents, but especially parents, students, and school staff, no matter their immigration status, should be able to participate in an official capacity to have their voices heard on decision-making committees because they are mostly directly impacted by these decisions made. We appreciate your attention to this matter and look forward to the swift passage of this amendment. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Julio Acosta.
Hi, my name is Julio Acosta. I'll speak slower than usual for interpreters to be able to interpret well. I live in Carrollton, but I do a lot of my work in Dallas. I'm a volunteer with the Coalition for a Strong, Inclusive Dallas, Our Revolution, Somos Tejas, and LULAC. I am in support of allowing people to serve on boards regardless of legal status. We have many residents that have incredible life experiences, ideas, and skills that we could be utilizing. Everyone pays taxes one way or another. We should not have taxation without representation. Justice delayed is justice denied, and I hope that y'all make the right decision today. I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Angela Enciso.
Hello, and good evening, trustees, Dr. Hinojosa, DISD admin, and community members. My name is Angela Enciso, and I live in District 6 at 918 DeWitt Circle. I am a native of Dallas and a product of the Dallas ISD. I am a former DISD educator where I had the privilege of working in the West Dallas community. I am a parent to a future DISD student and an advocate for the students and families of our community. I am also the proud daughter of 2 immigrant parents. I come to you today in support of approving Agenda Item 7.38 and creating a more inclusive Dallas. As a former educator, I had the privilege of working with all types of families. And as has been shared, it's so important to create opportunities for their voices to be elevated, and approving this agenda item would actually create more opportunities for our parents and families and community members and neighbors who really do want to have a voice in our decision-making process to really be a part of this work that Dallas ISD is making. Immigration status should not be another barrier for families and community members who want to stay engaged and be a part of this work. And I hope that you will vote to set an example, not just for our students and their families, but for our city and the country. Vote to allow residents who are not citizens to serve on advisory committees, and let's create a more inclusive Dallas. Thank you, and I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Ramiro Luna.
Hi, good afternoon, board members and fellow speakers. I'm very happy to be here today to speak in favor of Agenda Item 7.38, allowing residents to participate in boards and committees. I'm a proud product of Dallas Independent Schools. I attended elementary school, middle school, and high school in DISD. And today, as a dreamer, I am actually currently barred from participating in these said boards and committees that we speak of today. And there's not much that I can say that hasn't been said so eloquently by our previous speakers. But I do want to say this, that as we open the doors for parents and heck, previous or past student body members who were students once of the DISD and are still barred, it's allowing us to feel truly part of a system that we consider our own. We have a lot of students right now whose parents are currently barred. And I know as a student whose family members would have loved to be participating in these boards and committees, I never really fully felt part of the system. And I think it's long overdue that we really do welcome such a significant part of the student body whose parents are immigrants or who they themselves are immigrants. And again, this would only strengthen the ideas and the decisions that are being made by these committees. And with that, I yield my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Maria Hernandez. Maria Hernandez.
Hola,
Hello.
buenas tardes. Mi nombre es María Hernández.
Good evening. My name is Maria Hernandez.
Yo estoy a favor de
I
que
am in favor
se incluyan a personas de la comunidad,
that
residentes no ciudadanos,
community
para
members
que
be
puedan
included in the
tomar decisiones
advisory board
importantes
to help make
para la
decisions,
educación de nuestros hijos.
important decisions
Yo
that
estoy
are
dentro del
that
distrito
pertain
8.
to the education of our students. I am from District 8.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Patricia Vega.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Hello,
Mi
good
nombre
evening.
es Patricia
My name is
Vega.
Patricia
Mi
Vega.
dirección es
My address is
3410
3410
Hidalgo
Hidalgo
Drive,
Drive,
105 aquí en
apartment
Dallas,
105
Texas,
here in Dallas,
75220.
75220,
Mi distrito es el 8.
and I am from
Y yo
District
estoy
8.
aquí
I
para
am here
apoyar el
to
cambio
support
de que diga en vez de ciudadano que se cambie a residente
that
para
the
darle
citizen
oportunidad a
advisory
personas de
committees
la
change their
comunidad
name
a participar, a
and not
hacer cambios
include
en la
the
mesa
word
directiva.
citizen so that it is more open to other
También hay
members of the community that might not
que
be
pueden
here
apoyar, pero
legally.
el significado de que le ponen ciudadano
They
solamente
really
para
want to
participar en la mesa
support,
directiva también limita
but
a
the word
personas que
citizen
tienen
really
potencial
limits,
para hacer un
or
cambio en
the
nuestra
language
comunidad,
limits other
ya
members of
que
the community
hay
to participate.
a veces en las escuelas,
There are times at the schools,
necesidades especiales,
especially in the
yo como
special
madre tengo
education
niños con
units,
necesidades especiales y
as a
muchas
mother with a
veces
student with
era
special needs,
más apoyo para estos niños.
we would
Y
like
eso
more support for these students.
de nosotros. Entonces,
And because they represent our
también
future.
como yo como madre,
And so as a mother,
aquí en Dallas, a lo mejor tendría la oportunidad también de apoyar y
I would like that opportunity to help support and put my little grain of salt
de mi experiencia como
from my
madre,
experience as a mother,
ayudar así a hacer un cambio
and help
positivo.
make a change, a positive change in the community.
Gracias a los que están
Thank
en la
you
mesa directiva por
to
su
the
tiempo,
board for
porque
your
también no
time,
es fácil hacer cambios.
because I know
Entonces,
you are there to also help make
voy a estar
changes
siempre ahí y estar apoyando a la comunidad.
and for always supporting the communities.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Susana Garcia.
Buenas tardes, mi
Good
nombre es
evening.
Susana
My name is
García,
Susana Garcia.
vivo en Dallas.
I live in Dallas.
Y primero, muchas gracias por darnos
First
esta
of all, I
oportunidad
would like to
de estar
thank
aquí
you
hablando
for
en
this opportunity
español.
to speak in
Gracias al
Spanish.
doctor Hinojosa,
Thank you,
gracias a todos
Dr.
los miembros de la
Hinojosa, and
mesa
all of the
directiva
members
que nos
of the
están dando esta
board for
oportunidad.
this opportunity.
Y como muchos ya lo dijeron,
As
estoy a
many have
favor de
already
que se
said,
les dé la
I am in
oportunidad a
favor
las personas
that
que estén
the
apoyando al
opportunity be
distrito,
given
apoyando
to
las
other
escuelas,
people
porque
to
yo como
support the
madre
school,
de
the
7
district.
hijos,
As a mother of
me
7
encantaría
children, I would
y un
love
día sueño con
to
estar
help. And one day I
dando
dream
mi opinión, mi
to be able to
experiencia,
give my
para
opinion, my
a lo mejor le sirve a
experience,
alguien más.
because it might
Y
help
pues
somebody else.
les agradezco mucho que
I
estén
thank you.
pensando en abrir
I
las
thank you
puertas
for
para más
thinking of
personas.
opening the doors to other
Pues
people.
muchas gracias a todos.
And
Y
thank you
esperemos que
all,
nos
and I
sigan tomando
hope
en cuenta también a
that
nosotros,
you all
las personas
continue
que hablamos
taking
solo
us into
español.
consideration as Spanish speakers.
Thank you. Our next speaker is David Steinfink.
Yes, thank you. My name is David Steinfink, and my son attends Jerry Junkins Elementary in Carrollton, Texas. Thursday, March the 4th, I became aware after the fact of an incident that occurred with my son's substitute teacher in which she forcefully grabbed him by the arm and then dragged him out of the classroom by his feet for some behavior that was not he should have been doing. She then immediately reported the incident to the principal and the school counselor, who then told her to, quote, not worry about it. The following Monday, another student informed his mother of the incident. And then the next day, Tuesday, the mother went to the school to speak to the principal about what had happened, but he refused to speak with her because she was not the parent of the child. After the mother left the school, the principal then went to the classroom and questioned the substitute, Miss Carlstad, and my son over who told Jacob's mother. But Jacob was not the one who told. We found out Wednesday the 11th. We found out the next day, Wednesday the 10th, only because it came up in conversation. Either Miss Carlstad, the substitute, is lying about reporting it to her superiors, or the principal and the rest of the administration are lying in how they handled it. We should have been informed Thursday the 4th when it happened, Tuesday the 9th when the school supposedly found out. Miss Carlstad called the actual teacher, Miss Kennedy, crying Tuesday evening after she was terminated, when she had previously been informed that everything would be okay. Mr. Spurlock tried to inform me Friday the 12th after an email had been sent to the administration and to the district superintendent about this incident. I also filed a complaint with the ethics office at the DISD. I am not satisfied with the recollection of events strictly from Principal Spurlock. I want to hear from all involved, and I appreciate the fact that the teacher was let go from her position, but this was a criminal act of abuse and assault against my child. I do not feel comfortable with Principal Spurlock's handling of the incident. I want this matter investigated, and if the district or the board will not help me, then I have no choice but to seek help elsewhere, possibly from the Child Protective Services, the Carrollton Police Department, or perhaps the local media. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Jesus Mendoza.
So now we can sit and listen to everybody else, or I did all I could do.
And it becomes a matter of public record now.
Yeah, because they have a record of it.
Jesus Mendoza. Robert Ceccarelli.
Hello, this is Jesus Mendoza. Somehow I was muted.
You have 3 minutes to speak.
Okay, yes, my name is Jesus Mendoza, and my telephone number is 956-583-712. I have been homebound for more than 9 years with light-threatening electrosensitivity, which is caused and aggravated by exposure to the same wireless microwave radiation reaching children and teachers at school. My EHS has been recognized by federal and state agencies and by courts as a physical medical condition and as a disability. It is estimated that without knowing, more than 50% of the population is already suffering symptoms of EHS. Children, teachers, doctors, attorneys, and even a director of the World Health Organization are suffering from electrosensitivity. Please see wearetheevidence.org. Despite that EHS is reaching pandemic proportions, most doctors are in the dark or in denial and continue misdiagnosing and mistreating with harmful drugs and invasive procedures symptoms that disappear with just reducing exposure to microwave radiation. It is a fact that exposure to radiation above the federal safety limits causes harm even to adults. A law firm filed a lawsuit with evidence of how the cell phones used by our children emit more than 5 times the levels allowed by federal law, and 7 law firms sent a warning to school officials of the potential civil and criminal liability of exposing children unnecessarily to harmful microwave radiation when an expensive hardwired internet is readily available. Please see Safe Tech Schools. According to experts, electrosensitivity is not an isolated set of symptoms, but ongoing injuries to the immune and neurological system, which are progressively aggravating to reversibility by exposure to microwave radiation. Please see the summary of EHS by Dr. Erica Mallory Blight. Some of the symptoms of EHS include pain, swelling of vital organs, swelling of face, head, and eyes, symptoms of heart attack and stroke, rashes and loss of skin, flu and allergy symptoms, and stomach, sleeping, vision, hearing, memory, speech, concentration, and breathing problems, headaches, dizziness, nausea, irritability, depression, anxiety, fatigue, tremors, numbness, tingling, tinnitus, muscle pain, joint pain, fever, seizures, paralysis, palpitations, arrhythmias, chest pain, high and low blood pressure, slow, fast heart rate, sinusitis, asthma, itching, burning, dry eyes, eye pain, eye pressure, blurred vision, testicular and ovarian pain, dry lips, tongue and mouth, inordinate thirst, dehydration, altered blood sugar levels, nosebleeds, internal bleeding, tooth pain, impaired sense of smell, and unconsciousness. According to experts, most doctors are confounding the symptoms of EHS with symptoms of heart attack and stroke, Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, Alzheimer's, fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, major depression and suicide, chronic fatigue syndrome, autism, ADHD, and PTSD, as detailed by the request to protect our children submitted to the Secretary of the U.S. Department of Education, Dr. Miguel Cardona, and posted on the case law materials of wirelesswatchblog.org, wirelesswatchblog.org. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for letting me be here.
Thank you. Our last speaker is Robert Ceccarelli. Robert Ceccarelli. This concludes our speakers.
Thank you to our speakers. In the absence of Secretary Trustee Carla Garcia, I'm going to appoint Trustee Carrion as Secretary Pro Tem. We're going to now move on to Section 5.01, consider and take possible action to approve the minutes submitted for approval. The following minutes have been submitted for approval. Board meeting, February 25th, 2021. Audit Committee meeting, March 3rd, 2021. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Motion by Trustee Flores, second by Trustee Carrion. If no corrections, trustees, will you please cast your votes? Trustee Garcia, will you verbally cast your vote?
Yes.
The motion passes 9-0.
Thank you, trustees. You've just adopted agenda item 5.01. Moving on to statutory items. Our first item is 6.01, to adopt the order canceling the May 1st, 2021 general election for Districts 1 and 3, and to certify the unopposed candidates elected as of May 1st, 2021. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Motion by Trustee Flores, second by Trustee Carrion. Trustees, is there discussion? Hearing none, trustees, will you please cast your votes? Trustee Garcia, will you vote verbally?
Garcia votes yes.
The motion passes 9-0.
Trustees, we're now on 6.02, to approve the resolution of the Dallas Independent School District Board of Trustees regarding the nomination of Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Michael Hinojosa, for Texas Association of School Boards 2021 Superintendent of the Year. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Motion by trustee Flores, second by trustee Mackey. Trustees, is there discussion? Trustee Michke?
Yes. I understand that as part of the nomination, we have to make a submission to TASB. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, well, I just wanted to volunteer to help edit that, and it will be helpful, I hope. Thank you.
We
Chief
can
Lear?
certainly send that to you.
And for context, for those that didn't write the briefing, in order to submit this, the board does have to approve a resolution, so it's part of the application process. Okay, if there's no more discussion, trustees, will you please cast your votes? Trustee Garcia, will you vote verbally?
Garcia votes yes.
Trustee Foreman? What'd she say? The motion passes 9-0.
Give me a minute, trustees. So. Okay, we're on consent agenda items. Consider and take possible action to approve consent agenda items 7.01 through 7.38 as amended. The following agenda items have been pulled for a separate vote: 7.12, 7.13, 7.15, 7.19, 7.31, 7.32, 7.37, and 7.38. 7.12 is going to go back onto the consent agenda item. 7.32 is going to go back onto the consent agenda item. And 7.37 is going to go back onto the consent agenda item. So only things pulled are going to be 7.13, 7.15, 7.19, 7.31, and 7.38. In addition, 7.11 and 7.20 have been pulled from the agenda in their entirety. Do I have a motion to, on the consent agenda as amended?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by trustee Flores, second by trustee Marshall. Trustees, will you please cast your votes? Trustee Garcia, will you vote verbally?
Garcia votes yes.
The motion passes 9-0.
Thank you, trustees. You just approved the consent agenda items. We're going to start with 8.02, approve the agreement. Now on the items pulled for separate vote. 8.02, approve the agreement between City of Dallas, Dallas College, and DISD for the implementation of P-TECH, no financial impact. Consent item 7.13, pulled by trustees Foreman and Michke. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by trustee Flores, second by Marshall. Trustees, is there discussion?
Yes.
Trustee Foreman?
Brian.
Good evening, Trustee Foreman.
Thank you for supplying me with the information that I asked for, but there is a little additional information, and I'm still struggling with the overall P-TECH concept. In regards to the different types of degrees that our students are receiving. In some of the P-TECHs, it's the normal AA degree, and in some, it's the AAS degree, which the AAS degree, actually, some of those credits do not transfer to other colleges. And I'm wondering, because it's about 42 of them, so I'm wondering, when do we explain that to parents and students that those hours do not transfer?
Thank you for the question, Trustee Foreman. For our Associate of Applied Science, the AAS that you're referring to, when we rolled out our first cohort of 8 schools, we did have AAS as part of each of the schools' pathways because they're embedded in technical skills. And some of that still remains the same, but we also have offered pathways of either Associate of Arts or Associate of Science in all of our P-TECH, moving towards that in all of our P-TECH schools at this point, based upon some feedback. I will tell you though also that for the AAS, those credits do transfer. In addition, there are transfer pathways. So the North Texas College, Community College Consortium has a website, and on the website you can see for each of the respective pathways that we have in the AAS space, the 4-year college or university that students can transfer to utilize in
So are
those credits.
specific four-year colleges? Because the one that I'm referring to is Midwestern, where some credits did not transfer, where a student actually believed they were going to be a junior and ended up a freshman.
Yeah, I would think that's a rare instance, but you're correct. So it will be there will be specific pathways that transfer to specific universities, but all in all, the credits do transfer. I think the other thing to consider is if a student, let's say, studies criminal justice for a P-TECH pathway and then decides to go into a different major at the 4-year university, obviously not all will transfer because those courses, some of those courses are embedded specifically in criminal justice. While some of those might be able to be used in electives, some of them may not be. So it becomes a factor. If students make a decision change out past high school, then it could influence the amount of credits that are able to be used.
So I guess still my concern remains that we should be explaining this to parents and students. Some students might just want the junior college degree. But the problem that I have is that when they want to go on to a 4-year college and they don't have the information. For instance, some of our P-TECHs, they actually receive the AS and AA degree in some of our P-TECHs. So they have an opportunity to go on. And some of those students might want to go to one of those P-TECHs if they think they're going on to a 4-year college. So I'm just concerned that we're not giving out enough information because even the way you explained it, Brian, is a little bit convoluted. And so I think we need to figure out a way, Dr. Hinojosa, to be able to explain this information to our students and parents so that they get a good understanding of exactly what we're doing.
We do think, obviously, you're right, the advising is really important, particularly at the 8th grade, so that we can make sure parents and students are clear. Mm-hmm. But let me let Dr. Rogers just say a few words about it as well. She's here with us on Zoom. Dr. Rogers, can you weigh in any thoughts to that?
Yes, good evening. So, President Henry, Board Trustees, and Superintendent Hinojosa, Trustee Foreman, we are working with Dallas College to realign all of our pathways. We are working to ensure that we are making sure that all students are well informed about the transferability of their credit. And as our students are becoming more confident that they want to go to 4-year colleges and universities, we are actually working to move toward all of our programs offering only the Associates of Arts and Associates of Science with an embedded certificate. So they still will have the certificate, but we are working to move away from the AASs as more of our students are wanting to transfer and would like more flexibility. But there are transfer options for all pathways.
So, Dr. Rogers, you say we're working toward it. When are we going to get there?
We are rolling, we rolled more out, and we plan to be fully rolled out at the beginning of not the next school year, but the following school year. But every campus, starting in the fall, will have the option for an AA and AS pathway in addition to the AAS.
And so we currently have about 8,000 students in the program, so some of those students will be adversely affected as to what I'm talking about right now. And so what I'd like to see is, Brian, what I'd like to see is that some communication with those students, so they get a good understanding. Again, I'm not saying that it's bad. What I'm saying is people need to know what their choices are. And we need to have a clear understanding with the parents and students exactly where that's gonna go. And if there
Yes.
are colleges that, excuse me one second, Dr. Rogers, if there are colleges that actually will accept them, they need to have that information at hand also. So like the student that I talked about, don't get in that kind of a situation. We can fix this.
Yes, ma'am, and actually
have
last fall, all of our P-TECH seniors, we actually had a college fair with the colleges that accept the AAS. It was a specific college fair for those students and their parents. We held it at Mountain View to make that very point. It was an evening event just for those students with those colleges regarding their degree and the transfer.
But we agree, we'll work on getting better at that and communicating more effectively, because we do want to make sure that our students know exactly what lies before them as a long-term opportunity. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Trustee Mitchell.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I'm proud of the P-TECH program, and especially here where we are cooperating with the city of Dallas. And I hope we'll continue to do that and continue to expand the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Mitchell. Trustees, if there's not any more discussion, will you please cast your votes? Trustee Garcia, will you vote verbally?
Garcia votes yes.
The motion passes 9-0.
Thank you, trustees. You approved the motion. You've adopted the motion approving the agreement between the City of Dallas, Dallas College, and DISD for the implementation of P-TECH. We're now on item 8.03, amend board file number 60344 for the district's fiber optic wide area network, including bond and special revenue funds. 2, ratify previous bond fund purchase in the amount of $1,418,957. 3, augment the existing agreements to accommodate future network adds, moves, changes in, or capacity increases. Increase not to exceed $9,500,000, $47,500,000 aggregate through June 30, 2023, not including additional renewal options, general operating, bond, special revenue funds. Consent item 7.15, pulled by trustees Foreman and Mitchell. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second. Motion by trustee Flores, second by trustee Marshall. Trustees, is there discussion?
Yes.
Trustee Foreman, you have the floor.
Good evening, President Hendry and trustees, Mr. Superintendent.
So I have a question, trustee Foreman. I got your response, and what is a little bit convoluted for me is that you talked about the reason the ratification is because the 2011 board document authorizing fiber optic network did not specify bond funds and preceded the 2015 bond. So if it didn't specify bond funds, then why did we go back and use bond funds?
Yes, ma'am. I don't think we realized that the 2011 board document did not specify bond funds. So we were spending money on projects associated with the bond, construction projects, new campuses, renovations, those types of projects. And it was called to our attention fairly recently that the original board document did not specify the bond funds, and that's when we caught it and brought it forward as a ratification item.
So this specifically speaks to fiber optics, not doing work on schools for technology.
Correct.
So I missed your response. Did we do fiber optics at all these schools?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you happen to know the schools?
Yes, ma'am. There is a list of the schools on the second page of the board document. I think there's about roughly 20 projects or so, and you can see all of the locations in the schools, but they are all for fiber optic related projects at those schools.
Look at the board document.
And administrative offices, I should also mention, because there's our data center facilities,
And I would-
9400, this
I would
location.
imagine the bulk of that went to the administrative facility.
No, ma'am, the amounts are
Okay, I'll look
specified
at
on
them.
that page as
I'll
well.
look at them. I just, Dr. Hinojosa, I have a real problem when we go back to a 2011 document and we spending money in 2020. I just have a real problem with that. That's not even reasonable. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Foreman. Are there any other questions? Not hearing any trustees, will you please cast your votes? Trustee Garcia, will you vote verbally?
Garcia votes yes.
Trustee Johnson? The motion passes 8 voting yes and 1 voting no.
Thank you, trustees. You just adopted agenda item 8.03. We're going to move on to 8.04. Authorize, negotiate, and enter into cooperative agreements with recommended vendors for the purchase of building, maintenance, repair, operations, supplies, and equipment for maintenance and operations not to exceed $300,000 over 5 months from general operating special revenue bond funds. Consent item 7.19, pulled by trustees Joyce Foreman and Justin Henry. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by trustee Flores, second by trustee Marshall. Trustees, is there discussion?
Yes.
Trustee Foreman.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I'm just curious why this particular procurement is $5 million more than the last procurement. Is it the length of time?
On 8.04,
Mm-hmm.
we're requesting 300,000 for 5 months.
We're on 4, okay. So this is a cooperative agreement. Do we know which cooperative agreement we're working from?
Yes, ma'am, that's the buy board.
Okay, so one of the things I've noticed on the new language, Dwayne, for your cooperative agreements, you don't list who the purchasing is coming from. Not on these documents.
Okay?
Am I wrong?
It's not
I
on
can
the.
be wrong
It's not on the.
sometimes.
It's not on the front page, but it is on the detailed information sheet. It says buy board awarded vendors,
Yeah, so that detail, if it could be on
the main sheet.
the main sheet.
Yes, ma'am.
So that there's knowledge of who we're actually procuring from, I would appreciate that. Thank you. And that's on another one of those cooperative agreements too, same situation. That's on 04 and 05. Okay, that's it.
Thank you, trustee Foreman. There's no other discussion. Trustees, will you please cast your vote? Trustee Flores, I don't know why I keep saying trustee Flores. Trustee Garcia, will you please cast your vote verbally?
Garcia votes yes.
The motion passes 9-0.
Thank you, trustees. You just approved agenda item 8.05. We're now on the agenda item, 8.04. We're now on the agenda item 8.05. Authorate and negotiate enter into cooperative agreements with recommended vendors for the purpose of ground maintenance equipment, irrigation parts, supplies, and installation for maintenance and operations not to exceed $1 million over 5 months. General operating special revenue bond funds. Consent item 7.31, pulled by trustees Joyce Foreman and myself. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by trustee Flores, second by trustee Marshall. Trustees, is there discussion? Okay. There's no discussion. Trustees, will you please cast your votes on agenda item 8.05? Trustee Garcia, will you vote verbally, please?
Garcia votes yes.
The motion passes 9-0.
Trustees, thank you. Just adopted agenda item 8.05. We're now on agenda item 8.08. Approve amendment of Board Policy BDF Local Board Internal Organization Citizen Advisory Committee, single read, sponsored by Trustee Mitch K. Dr. Pamela Lear, Chief of Staff, consent item 7.38 pulled. It's a new agenda item. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Flores, second by Trustee Marshall. Trustees, is there discussion? Trustee Mitch K.
Yes, first I'd like to thank Trustee Mackey for recommending that we move this forward on a first read, and I think that certainly represents the consensus of this board. As I said in the board briefing, that this proposed change is consistent with our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Our current policy categorically denies a non-citizen from being appointed to an advisory committee. And this is really inconsistent with the fact that these positions are non-paying volunteer positions that you have to be appointed to by a trustee. Compare that to the fact that non-citizens can be teachers in our district, working support staff in our district. They can even serve in the Army. And I think I should point out that these advisory committees are just that, advisory. It is the elected officials and the board as a whole that make the final decisions with the input of the advisory committees. Now, we have committees that advise us on the bond, on special ed, on attendance boundary, discipline policy, racial equity. We may have one or more committees on TAG, on redistricting, on magnet school admissions. And I think this sends a good message of inclusion, that with a district and a city where we have, no one knows exactly what the percentage of the population is, but somewhere over 25% of the residents in Dallas and in DISD are estimated to be non-citizens. And I think this sends a good message of inclusion. And I think this is a policy that we need to clean up. And I would appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Mitch K. Trustee Foreman.
Dan, do you know exactly how many committees we're talking about? How many committees do we currently appoint people to?
Well, I just enumerated about 7 or 8 of them, and
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said I just enumerated about 7 or 8 of them, but I don't have the comprehensive list. I'm sure we could ask board services.
Which 7 or 8 did you enumerate? Because I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I was doing something.
Okay, well, I said we have a committee, a bond advisory committee. We have a special education committee. We have a racial equity committee, an attendance boundary committee. We have one for discipline policy. I'm sure I'm leaving a couple out. I just scribbled down a couple. And we I think, have a talented and gifted committee that is in the process of being formed. We do have redistricting coming up. We might need a committee for that. We still have issues with magnet school admissions, and I would like to somehow have us be able to figure out a solution to those problems, and it might encompass having a committee of advisors. But
okay. I just needed to have some kind of clarity on how many committees. Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments, trustees? Hearing none, trustees, will you please cast your votes? I'm sorry, before you cast your vote, Trustee Garcia has a comment. Sorry, Trustee Garcia.
President Henry, if you can hear me, just wanted to share with my colleagues, this is absolutely the right thing to do. Working closely with students and families in my own professional circle, the support that we have to give to our community members, regardless of their citizenship status, this is a great first step for us to do in Dallas ISD, and we've already done some work as well, but I really commend all of us for taking this step forward, and I hope the city of Dallas will follow through as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Garcia. Now, trustees, could you please cast your votes, including Trustee Garcia, could you cast your vote verbally?
Garcia enthusiastically votes yes.
The motion passes 9-0.
All right, trustees, the time is now 7:13 p.m. and this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you. Be safe.